most startups fail. That's not pessimism, that's just math. But here's the part that nobody talks about. Most startups don't fail because the idea was bad. They fail because the founders move too slow on the right things and too fast on the wrong things. Speed without direction is just chaos with a burn rate. And the founders of Techstars, a program that has produced companies worth billions, wrote a book that claims to solve both. The question is, does it deliver the weapons or just a collection of war stories? My name is Todd Hagopian, the original Stagnation Assassin and the author of this book, The Unfair Advantage Weaponizing the Hypomanic Toolbox. But today, we're doing a Stagnation Assassin book review of Do More Faster by Brad Feld and David Cohen. So get ready for a hard hitting, bold, relentless review of the Startup Bible from the Techstars ecosystem. And we're going to decide whether its lessons translate beyond Silicon Valley coffee shops. Now, Brad Feld and David Cohen co founded Techstars, one of the world's most successful startup accelerators. Their portfolio has produced companies like SendGrid, PillPack, DigitalOcean, ClassPass, collective creating over $80 billion of value. Do More Faster distills the lessons from thousands of startup founders and mentors into 7 general themes: ideas and vision, people, working effectively, product, fundraising, legal, structure, work life harmony. It's a collection of short essays, not a single narrative. And that structure is both its strength and its weakness. But let's start with what gets right. The Tim Ferriss essay that opens the book drops a principle that every entrepreneur needs to internalize. Your idea is worthless. Not provocative for shock value, strategically true. Ideas are abundant. Execution and passion are scarce. You could steal ideas. Nobody can steal execution or passion. If you're guarding your startup concept like it's a nuclear code, you've already lost because the value is not in the idea, it's in the operator bold enough to execute it. The mentorship-driven model is the book's secret weapon. Techstars doesn't just give companies money, it buries them in experienced mentors who have built, who have scaled, and who have crashed companies. The essays from these mentors are raw, practical, and battle tested. The principle of conflicting advice is particularly brilliant. The authors argue that hearing contradictory perspectives from multiple mentors forces founders to think different, come up with their own convictions. That's anti stagnation at a philosophical level. The Don't Plan Prototype chapter is a direct shot at analysis paralysis, the single greatest killer of startup momentum. Build something ugly, ship it, get feedback, iterate. The book hammers this point from multiple angles. Validated learning matters more than vanity metrics. Customer discovery matters more than business plans. And the plural of anecdote is not data. If your startup has a 60-page business plan and no prototype, you don't have a company. You have a very expensive creative writing project. The section on co founders and team dynamics is refreshingly honest. The book doesn't sugarcoat the reality that founding teams often implode, frequently and painfully. The advice to keep founding teams small, choose complementary skills over identical backgrounds, and address conflict early is simple, sobering, and essential. Let's talk about the murder board. What does this book get wrong? First, and this is a structural flaw, the essay format creates shallow depth. Each chapter is a blog length vignette from a different contributor. Some are gold, some are forgettable, and none go deep enough to give you a comprehensive framework. It's kind of like eating tapas when you need a steak. You'll taste a lot of interesting things, but you'll leave pretty hungry. Do More Faster is a buffet of startup advice. You'll find a few dishes that'll change your life and a dozen that kind of taste like warmed over common sense. The problem is figuring out which before you've wasted your appetite. Second, This book is overwhelmingly tech startup centric. Software, SaaS, apps, platforms. If you're building a physical product like me, a services company, or transforming an existing enterprise, the advice needs some serious translation. The bias towards code and deploy speed doesn't map cleanly to a business where shipping fast means something very, very different, like 12 months. When you're building manufacturing facilities and constructing physical plants, move fast and break things isn't charming, it's catastrophic. Third, the survivorship bias is thick. Techstars companies that succeeded are featured prominently. The vast majority that didn't are footnotes at best. This book creates an impression that following these principles leads to success, when the reality is that following these principles improves your odds from terrible to merely bad. Entrepreneurship is still overwhelmingly a losing game, and do more faster doesn't really adequately temper its optimism with that brutal statistical reality. So, what's the stagnation verdict? We're going to go three kills. Do more faster is a solid collection of startup wisdom that delivers real value in short, digestible bursts. The mentorship philosophy, the bias towards prototyping over planning, the blunt honesty about team dynamics are genuinely useful. But the essay format prevents depth, the tech startup bias limits breadth, and the survivorship bias distorts the picture. If you're a first time tech founder, bump this to your four kills. It's a tailor made for you. But for everybody else, it's a supplementary weapon, not a primary one. Really good sparks, but insufficient sustained firepower. That's the Stagnation Assassin verdict on Do More Faster. Three kills, useful ammunition for startup operators, especially in tech, but bring your own rifle. For transformation frameworks that work at any scale, from startup to Fortune 500, from software to industrial manufacturing, grab the unfair advantage, weaponizing the hypomanic toolbox. Subscribe to the Stagnation Assassin Show. Visit toddhagopian.com and stagnationassassins.com for plenty of free tools. Move fast, but move with purpose. Speed without strategy is just a faster route to the same dead end. Do more faster, but only after you figured out what more actually means.